Welcome to A Class Act, Conversations in Data and Leadership. I'm your host, Michael, and in every episode we'll go behind the scenes of great leadership, from key hires and scaling teams to human stories that shape the industry. This is where real conversations happen. Let's get into it. So thanks very much, Gillian, for being a guest on the show. It was really good to have you on the A Class Act podcast, and it's really good to see you as well. A few months ago, I think I seen you in Edinburgh.
That's
Around
right.
6 months, I don't even know. Time's just going that fast at the moment.
It was the Data Lab 10-year anniversary, Michael.
That's
We
right.
caught up. Obviously, a journey we've both been on all over those years. But no, it's great to be joining you on the podcast.
No, definitely. Really good. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm sure everybody else will be as well. So it'd be good just to start at the beginning and really look at what sparked your passion for technology and innovation growing up in Scotland.
Sure, I think I probably accidentally fell into it. I was at school in the 80s. I can go back to the big hair and funny music, and it was great. And when I was at school doing my exams, we didn't have any computers in the school. And when I went into sixth year, and I was doing, at the time, there were 6-year studies in maths and economics, which were my favourite subjects. The school got these brand new computers, and I took an SVQ or something module in it, just the basics, and really enjoyed it. And so I thought, this is interesting, and I got a flavour for how the world was potentially going to be shaped by computers and what they could do. But it was my first ever taste of it. I didn't have any home computers or anything like that. It was just at school, my last year. And when I went to university, I was going to do maths and economics, and I had to pick a third subject. And I came across computing science. I thought, well, I enjoyed that module. Let's try that. And you didn't need to have any previous qualifications because they didn't really exist. I'm sure there were some schools teaching it. And so I did computer science in my first year at uni and really liked it. And then I did my second year. And when I had to finally pick what I was going to finish my degree in, it was computer science. So the maths and the economics dropped by the wayside, and I ended up with a degree in computing science. So I kind of, as I say, I fell into it, loved it. And then coming out of uni, I had to go and apply for jobs, and applied for everything I could find in the milk round, and managed to get offered a job by IBM. And that was it. And probably at my time at IBM sparked my interest in innovation at that stage, how technology was helping to shape what the world was going to be. And it was really interesting.
Brilliant. I was just, you kind of took me back there as well. I came out of school that I wasn't really doing much in computing. I was actually a welder when I left school, growing up in Dumbarton. But when in about 1998, I went back to college because everybody was starting to talk about computers. I did a degree in computing as well, but I'd never switched on a computer ever in my life until I went to college. So that was funny just thinking back. Because I know you spent over 2 decades at IBM. What would you say some of the pivotal lessons from that time that shaped your leadership approach?
Oh my, it was a long time, Michael. My first job was green screens on mainframes and being on call with a pager and eventually getting a dial-up modem. So it was a long time ago from a technology perspective. It was 22 years in the end, and I changed roles and jobs every 3 or 4 years. So I got lots of different experience, worked down in the headquarters in Portsmouth, came back to Edinburgh for a year. Then I went to London for 7 years. Worked in retail and investment banking, and then I came back to Scotland, to Glasgow, and I ran different IBM units here. So there was huge amounts of lessons, and I had some absolutely amazing leaders I worked with, and some not so good. So I think that the lessons were always be learning, and that is so important for me now today as it was then, because of changing roles, changing jobs, stepping into new opportunities. You're always learning something new, whether it's banking or government, public sector or energy sector. You're always learning something new about the customers you're working with. Your technology clearly changed from the green screen dial-up modems to latterly when I was leaving IBM Watson and AI and all of the things that came with that. So that's probably the big thing, was just the continual need to learn and to develop.
Definitely. No, it's a long time to work with the same company, but if you're moving from position to position and learning, a great journey. And because you have successfully transitioned from global tech to public innovation, how intentional was that shift?
I would love to say that it was completely intentional. My career path, I knew where I was going, but it absolutely wasn't.
Yeah.
I was approached by a recruiter about the CEO job at the Data Lab. And I'll remember it vividly because the email arrived in my basket on Christmas Eve. And it's December's IBM's year end. And we were very good at training clients to get their best deals out of us at year end.
Yeah.
So we were, absolutely full on closing deals, signing contracts right up to Hugman A. So I'd parked it, came back to the email in the January, and I was looking at the specification for the kind of person they were looking for: startup experience, building from scratch, building something new, setting a strategy, delivering that. And I think I looked at it and said, well, that's not me. I'm a big corporate person, that's all I've ever known. And I had drafted an email to the recruiter saying, thanks, but I don't think you're looking for me. And for some reason, I just put it in drafts and didn't send it.
Yeah.
And then something just triggered me at IBM. There was a go-to-market strategy coming. It doesn't matter the detail, coming out of Global HQ in Armonk. And I knew this Scotland. I was looking after Scotland at the time. I said, this won't work. The size and shape of our client base, the capability that we have, that model won't work. And it was one of those classics, well, that's what you've got to do. And so I phoned the recruiter. It was a Friday afternoon. I'll remember it, and say, thanks for your email, but I don't think it's me looking at the spec. And she was a very experienced recruiter and said, forget the job spec. Tell me about you. Tell me what you do, what motivates you, what part of your job do you love? And by the end of the call, she said, I'm not hanging up until you agree to apply for this job.
Brilliant. Love that.
I'm not getting off. I'm going to ruin your weekend. I'm staying on the phone because it closed on the Monday. And so I agreed to apply, and I had to recruit a couple of trusted colleague friends because I'd never written a CV in 22 years over the weekend. And I said, look, will you help? I'm going to apply for this job. I need to write a CV. I've not done one in 22 years. Can you critique it for me? And because it's going to be rubbish. I knew it was going to be rubbish.
Yeah.
I wouldn't quite capture what I'd been doing. And they both agreed, and they spent a good couple of hours over the weekend working with me, and I submitted it. And then the more I got to understand what the Data Lab's mission was, the hooked I became, and the more I really wanted it. So accidental, but hooked on the passion and the mission and the purpose.
I love it, because I could have seen a lot of your journey there, so it was absolutely brilliant. And I must admit that recruiter's done a good job, so well done there. So you just wonder if that conversation didn't happen, if that person didn't persuade you to take that job.
That's right.
The direction the Data Lab would have went in, Scotland, data AI, all that kind of stuff. So
sliding door moments.
Yeah, fair play to the person. We'll go on and talk a wee bit more about the Data Lab, because you have held high profile roles. You were the CEO of the Data Lab, chair of Scotland's AI Alliance, and now CCO at Strathclyde. How do you define good leadership across such different contexts?
I would hope that I'm kind of demonstrating good leadership, but I'm always learning. And I love the phrase, you can call my baby ugly, because unless you tell me, how do I know where I can improve? So I welcome that all the time for all the teams that I've been part of. But I think fundamentally, it's down to two key things: purpose and people. I think being really aligned with the purpose of the organisation, what it's trying to do, why it exists, the difference it's trying to make, and then working with the people, and that encompasses the values, the culture, and how you work with people to deliver on that purpose. So for me, whether it's the Data Lab, AI Alliance, Strathclyde, the Glasgow Chamber, Codebase, the organisations I'm involved in, either directly in executive roles or as non-execs, it's the purpose and the people. And I think if you get those things right, you get the right people striving towards a common and collective purpose in a passionate way, I think you can, it doesn't matter what sector you're in, public, private, they're the two things I think that are consistent irrespective of the organisation you work in or the domain. It's
like any team really, but it is a skill and an art, and to bring people with you and really take them on the journey as well. Not everybody can do that. That is good leadership. And what leadership values have stayed constant throughout your career, and what would you say have evolved?
Oh, I would say they've all evolved, and some are continuing to evolve, and that's a good thing. I think how you treat people is a key one, or how you'd like to be treated yourself.
Yeah.
And that drives through your values, your culture, respect, recognising great capability, hard work, also coaching and supporting those who need to develop in different ways or who might be struggling. Beyond the people, I think it's consistency of communication, being really clear in your communication, whether that's on your purpose, your mission, how you're going to achieve it, the way you're going to go to market, the partners you're going to work with. All of that needs some consistency in communication and taking people with you on the journey. So those are probably the fundamental anchors. But I do think they'll continue to evolve. I think when we went through COVID, that was a big test on a lot of leadership and a lot of values. Yep. I learned some amazing things through there on taking people with you when you weren't together. That was tough for a lot of organisations.
Definitely was.
And I think we all learned through that time. And I think we're still learning now as we evolve back. Clearly, the role of technology fundamentally in all of our work, how we use it to deliver on our objectives, is always evolving. Yep. So how do you enthuse others to keep learning as well?
No, definitely. And I was going to touch a little bit about how do you build teams that aren't just high performance, but mission driven. I think you've covered that a little bit there as well.
I think it's all about taking people with you. Part of it is to be really clear in your recruitment phase about what's important to the organisation and how you operate. Back to that mission driven or purpose driven, being really clear on that so that people joining or applying to be part of the organisation, they see that from day one. They see that from what's on your socials, what's on your website, what you're communicating about. They see that from your adverts and how you recruit, where you're recruiting, how diverse, what platforms are you going to, what communities are you engaging with, right through to onboarding, and then hopefully, and this is easier said than done, living and breathing that every day when people join the organisation. If you are pivoting, changing direction, facing into a new opportunity, grasping a new challenge, it's taking people with you in that journey, and all anchors around the tone, communication, and taking people with you. So I think that's really important. And it also means that you can have a high performing team because they know their part, the very valuable part they're playing in the mission that you've set.
And what's a tough decision you've made as a leader that taught you the most?
The toughest thing for any leader is also one of the most rewarding, is working with people. The toughest decisions, often dealing with people who maybe aren't quite performing or aren't a right fit or exhibiting behaviours that don't quite fit with your values and culture. I certainly have not faced into them as quickly as I should have done in the past. And most leaders I speak to, it's exactly the same. I think we often give a bit more time, don't deal with behaviours at the time, don't drive the right accountability behaviour that you would expect. And I think they're the really tough things. They're also very emotionally draining and often actually physically draining.
Yeah.
When you finally deal with whether it's behaviours that don't align or performance that's not quite where you need it to be, when you finally face into dealing with that, it's amazing the rest of the organisation go, oh, finally. So it's got a much bigger impact on the organisation than you often think at the time. So that's probably the toughest, and it will continue to be the toughest thing. On a more practical note, it'll be stopping things that you've done. It's no longer fit for the market, or it's a service or product you can't keep going, and you've got teammates who are passionate about that thing and you need to stop it or not continue it. They're often tough decisions, and you'll often limp things along when you know you probably just need to pull the plaster off.
Definitely. I can totally identify with both points there. The people side's always been the toughest one for me.
Yeah.
I struggle with that. Still to this day, I think I'm more a kind of people's person. I like the vision and the networking and just being around people, but it's the real managing and doing that well and doing it like monthly and quarterly and keeping on top of that. People worked with me for 3 years and I've not had a one-to-one at some points. It was just like, that's never been my strongest point, but I totally get that. And the project side as well. Everything about what you said there. Oh, really good. And how do you approach leading through uncertainty, especially in rapidly evolving sectors like tech, technology and data?
I think to lead in today's world, you need to be really comfortable being uncomfortable. It was a classic line. I think it was Ginny Rometty in IBM. It was CEO at the time. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think that applies to a lot of things, and uncertainty is one of them. No one knows for sure what's going to happen. Certainly, if you the geopolitics in the world just now, if you look at some of the horrific conflicts that are going on, we don't often foresee some of that. So I think being comfortable, being uncertain about things, I think approaching it is just being really open about it and saying, we're not sure where this is going to go, but this is how we're going to face into it. And certainly for tech and data, which has moved at a huge amount of pace, and I love the line, today's the slowest day there will ever be again. We're just evolving at such a pace. So you need to be quite comfortable in that uncertainty, that pace of change, which means it comes back to always be learning. Because there's always something new to get your head round, to understand, to support your teams. So I do think it's also being open about it and sharing that you are uncertain because of the uncertainty. The only constant is change. Being comfortable in that environment is just accepting that's the case and you can't control it.
Definitely. Taking the good with the bad as well. And I'd definitely look over 2023 and 24 and pushing into 2025. And I've been running a business for 18 years, but I believe these past 3 years will be the biggest lessons I've ever faced. But I'm quite positive about it as well. I believe there'll be real lessons here. That's how I try and manage myself through uncertainty. It's look, this is just a lesson, and everything you're going through just now will feel better in the future, and probably really you'll appreciate the better times as well when you've gone through definitely uncertain times. And this rapid change with AI is just unbelievable at the moment. I'm a kind of traditional data person. I've been working in that field for a long time, but I've got a few colleagues at the moment working with some startups and scale-ups and venture studios throughout the UK, and it's just fascinating what they're doing. And we had an event in London just last month, and I still couldn't tell you what these three companies do. I'm like trying to explain it to people, but it's fascinating. Really, really good. Okay, so let's talk about the data lab. Really looking forward to this, because it was 7 years you were in post.
I was, 7 years as CEO.
Excellent. And when you took on the CEO role at the data lab, what was the vision and how did that evolve over the years?
It's a good one. So when I took on the role, it was part of the broader Scottish Innovation Centre programme. There were 8 innovation centres created. I wasn't involved in that phase. Some of the first CEOs of the other innovation centres they were heavily involved in the bid stage. It was a Scottish Funding Council programme, really looking at where do we have academic strengths and where do we have market opportunity. And they went out through the university and the industry leadership groups that existed at the time to look for areas to invest in these new things called innovation centres. And one of those was around data and data science, really. The industrialist behind it was Neil Logan. He became the first chair of the data lab. And he was really the driving force alongside some academic colleagues from Glasgow, Edinburgh and Robert Gordon University on preparing this bid. And it got through that funding and they were out to recruit a CEO. So until then, I hadn't known about what it was. And when I came in, I got sold in the vision, and it was to help Scotland maximise the value of data was the kind of strapline almost. And it did evolve. It became helping Scotland maximise the value of data and AI because they're synonymous, and the leveraging data in the right way through data science and AI became the thing over the years. We did stay quite true to that vision almost, and it was about helping organisations, private, public, innovate through new capability, leveraging wonderful research or university, looking at building the right community and talent solutions that cross-trained, helped build capability across our organisations and in our individuals who then could go into those organisations. So it was tweaked over the time. It didn't fundamentally change. Some of the things we did changed, but its vision was always about making a difference to Scotland. And I think Heather's CEO there now, it's still the same. It's about making a difference for Scotland, for our companies, for our organisations, for our public sector, for our third sector, and for our people.
Definitely. I witnessed it. I can remember even up until around about 2015, I was running a data recruitment business and I started it in 2007, but I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing that much in Scotland at all up until the data lab started, and it started evolving and more companies get involved. And I always say this as well, people will disagree with this, but when we started the meetup back in 2015,
yep.
there was one person that called herself, I only knew one person in Scotland that called herself a data scientist at that time. Loads of people have updated their LinkedIn and all that now to make it look as if they were, but honestly, there was no talk about data science.
No.
It was just a room full of guys as well at the start in data. Then if you look at the meetups, and especially Scotland, it's massive. What a change, which is brilliant. Even more so in London. I was done a data and AI event in London, and just last month, and there wasn't many women there at all. So I'm thinking this is an area we need to get back down and try and kind of help change this. Scotland's certainly changed. That's just one small observation. And the data lab aimed to maximise the value of data for Scotland. Like in practical terms, what does success look like to you, and where did you see the biggest wins?
So, I mean, we had a lot of KPIs, let's just say that, but fundamentally it was about helping new companies start around data, helping companies grow using data. And that could be a company that's core business is something else, but they're using data and new data techniques, data science, AI, to build new products or services that they can bring to market. Fundamentally, creating new jobs in Scotland, high value, well-paid opportunities, creating more people with the right skills to help organisations, and the master's programme that you and I worked on for all of the 7 years, pretty much that was one thing that I was so proud of, that we were helping people build new skills and then getting them into the workplace or helping them start up on their... So success really is economic and social benefit, new jobs, opportunities, and to create that here in Scotland. So that, like me, I got on a bus to Portsmouth when I was 20, then went on a train to London when I was 26. I didn't come back to my 30s. I'd love the opportunities to be right here to do amazing work.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's been, I think, some of the biggest wins. Seeing companies, Ed Bouchard now creating his second AI startup headquartered here in Scotland. And there are numerous ones. The work you did at MBN, and that's what's great. We've got the Data Lab had loads of examples of organisations that have helped, from the very big EDF and to the small startups.
It's unbelievable. We've got someone in working with us at the moment. It's a career ready student, and we're trying to keep her busy over 4 weeks in different tasks. And we actually went back. We've got Nicola, who helped us on the Data Lab Academy programme, and she's been looking back over the names of people, and we're doing a wee journey thing, just looking on LinkedIn, and you get incredible where some of these graduates are at the moment. And this was people who, a lot of them hadn't even had actual work experience.
That's right.
And I'm recruiting for some head of director level jobs at the moment, and they're actually a lot of these students are actually my candidate pool now. In that short amount of time, it's been fascinating. That was one of the most rewarding projects I think we've worked on as well. There was 100 students getting placed into industry, the height of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know what the number, but it'll be over 1,000 now supported master's students. And that first year, 10 years ago, it was 40.
I know.
We started with big ambitions, and it was great. And it's really good to see those now being CDIOs, head of data science teams, and it's great. And their journey started, as you say, back then with a door and an opportunity that opened up for them.
All over the world now, and when you look at even the ones placed in the Master Student Project, there was another few thousand actually trained on employability and all that kind of stuff. So amazing. Really good. Okay, so one of the Data Lab's strengths was connecting industry, academia and the public sector. What did you learn about building real collaboration across those very different worlds?
The first part is understanding they are quite different. They speak different languages, they operate at different pace. So one of the things you had to learn really early on is how you do the translation between the two till you find the sweet spots. And when you find partnerships that work across industry, academia, public sector, it's great. But going into that with your eyes open and fundamentally understanding what the objectives are. The objective of a professor is very different to the objective of a CTO that's looking to build new capability in a fast-growing business, is very different to a policy maker in Scottish Government. It's back to the fundamentals and the foundation of what they're trying to achieve. And is a partnership or a collaboration across those domains going to help them achieve? Yeah. And when you find those right sweet spots, it works really well. So if a CTO is looking for a off-the-shelf product, I can buy it, it'll go in, it'll work, it's maybe not at the bleeding edge. You may not need academic colleagues for that, but if you're trying to do something that's not really been done before, that maybe has its roots or foundation in some research that's been done and implementing that, if you can help policymakers understand the business landscape, the challenges, the skills landscape, where there's gaps, the pace things are moving at, then you can support and work and help them. So I think understanding their differences, understanding their strengths, and getting to the bottom of what are you trying to achieve and how would a collaboration help you get there faster.
That must have been a big part of the job at the Data Lab as well
for
yourself. I can imagine. Because Scotland, it's now an AI strategy and a national AI alliance, both of which have helped shape. What are the biggest opportunities ahead for Scotland in data and AI, and what needs to happen next to seize them? Quite a big question
it's
there,
but big one. Thanks, Michael. I think you touched on it earlier, just the breadth of and the opportunity from AI. Now, AI, a lot of it at the heart of it is the data science techniques we were using, 10 years ago plus. I think the biggest opportunities, there's two areas. One is, how do businesses whose core business isn't data science and AI leverage it to build new products, new services, enhance productivity, let them do things they've never been able to do before, make jobs more interesting, take away some of the mundane stuff. And then there's a second big part that I think is about how do we create AI first organisations, SMEs, businesses, hopefully scale-ups in Scotland who are at the heart of driving some of these new products and capabilities. Ed's company is just one of them, but there are others out there, whether it's Wordsmith AI or... and the good thing is there's more of them now than there was, but I think there's still a big opportunity there. They are both quite different, but they can both have a massive impact on the economy and society in Scotland.
Definitely, yeah. I'm hearing different companies all the time, and like 1 minute it's just a founder and an idea, then next minute they're getting like multiple millions investment and hiring.
And I think our universities have a big part to play. We've got some fantastic AI spin-out. Bellrock Technologies is an AI spin-out from here at Strathclyde. We've got spin-outs here using AI capability in cancer diagnostics, cross-domain activity, and so does generally the university sector. And I think we're doing a piece of work with our other university colleagues on how we amplify our spin-out capability and get more spin-outs into the market. How do we create the right investment opportunities for them so that they're getting the funding that they need to drive through their early stages and to scale? I think that'll be important as well.
Some of the talent in Scotland's unbelievable, and it's the fact that there is, I think that was one big thing, the fact that there's places for them to actually find jobs in Scotland now is like unbelievable, because there wasn't so much of that like before the Data Lab days as well. So amazing. Really good. Yeah. So you have spoken about making a difference for organisations, the public sector, and ultimately our children. What legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Well, I guess starting close to home, my daughter Charlie, who's now 15 going on 25, and when I did the TED Talk, she was only 6. So she's, that's 9 years ago, which is quite scary to think it was that long ago. First of all, as a mum, as a parent, I've got to think, I hope she grows up to be a really nice young woman and does something that makes her happy and fulfilled first and foremost. I guess from a professional perspective, I think ultimately it's about that you've made a difference to people. If you help the economy and you help society, by definition, it should make a difference to people's lives. There's either more jobs for them, there's better paid jobs, they've got the right skills to do that, they've got a chance that I had. I was the first in my family to go to uni. My dad was a welder. My mum was a cleaner. I had this great opportunity, and I just hope that our young people get that same fantastic opportunity that I got. And for them to be able to do that, there's got to be great organisations to work for, and they've got to have those opportunities.
I've got a 12-year-old daughter going on 22. She's my biggest challenge in life at the moment, which is great. Not a bad, just great. It's really good.
One of those wonderful challenges, Michael, that when you think about it, certainly I did as a mum and a parent and a working mum, was I really hope I can help a young, independent, strong woman into the world. And then when you get one, you're not so happy because they're young and strong-willed and independent.
Oh, my daughter's just so much like me. It's scary. As a youngster, that's how I find it so hard, I think. Oh, what a challenge. Anyway, so what does impact mean to you now compared to earlier on in your career? Has your perspective changed?
Yeah, I think it certainly has. When I was first getting into the workplace in IBM, it was, I can make some good money here. This is great. And I've got a great lifestyle and I've got good friends. And it was quite inward focused. I think the older you get, your perspective broadens. Now, in my 50s, you think actually some of those things that I thought were important then are certainly, they wouldn't even make the top 10 now of things. And I think you start to think about the impact you have on others. And we're in that part of our lives where you're in that stage when you suddenly lose friends or colleagues, and it certainly brings home the important things in life.
It does. Totally exact same place as you. With all that stuff, I could sit and talk about this for hours, but we'd be there totally. Need to catch up with something.
I know, that would be great.
Flip that on it all, because I'm the same as you. So you've been named the CEO of the Year. You've been honoured with a CBE and awarded an honorary doctorate. What do those accolades mean to you?
They're great. My husband likes to say I like a badge. So that's his way of having a slight dig, but also well done, as your loved ones often do. But I think I was super proud for all of those things, but also slightly humbled because it's not just been me. It's been teams of people. It's been colleagues that I've worked with. It's been partners that I've worked with. You only get these things if you're making a difference, and you very rarely, and I've never done that on my own. So they're wonderful, but they also represent the people you've worked with. So they really are lovely, and you get some wonderful recognition.
Oh, definitely. No, deserved. For everyone else, deserved. Last question now. What keeps you motivated after so many career milestones? Is it your legacy, curiosity, or something else entirely?
I don't think it's definitely not legacy. I think it's doing something that just motivates you every day, helping people, making a difference, and doing something really interesting that stretches you. I'm doing things now I've never done in the past here at Strathclyde. I've got parts of the professional services areas that I look after here at Strathclyde. I've never ever done those things before. That's really interesting. So I think motivation's all about doing something you believe in, working for an organisation that aligns with your values and your passions, and that you're making a difference to others. And I think if you can do that, you wake up every day with a spring in your step most days. It just doesn't need to mean to say that you don't have those hard days as well and those tough decisions that you need to make. But I think that keeps your energy up, your motivations up, rather than hanging it all up and going to a beach somewhere.
Oh, definitely. No, brilliant. Yeah, I love actually having these conversations now, because I've had them with a few people who I've known for years, but you don't sit down and have kind of conversations like this and kind of get to know them a wee bit more. So there's nothing better than having a conversation like this. I'll be driving down the road, buzzing, really enthused, and it really fills me with motivation, and it's been really good to get to know you a wee bit better, and I can't wait for this one to get out and about and for other people to listen, Gillian. So thanks very much.
No, thank you, Michael. Really, and it's been great knowing you and working with you all these years. And keep it up. We'll definitely catch up soon over a coffee.
Looking forward to it. Brilliant, Gillian. Thanks for listening to A Class Act. If you've enjoyed the episode, make sure to follow the show so you never miss a conversation. And if you're building a data team or making a key leadership hire, reach out to us at MBN Solution using the link in the show notes.